when the man of sin, the son of perdition, who will be shrouded and clothed in a new truth. And if his new truth is embraced by you or I or any other that are called by God's name, then this new truth can be said to be standing in the holy place. Because as God said through the Apostle Paul in Romans 12:1, through Peter, 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 5, the holy place, the spiritual house, the sanctuary of God, God's dwelling place, is the holy place and should be the holy place. And what does it mean to be holy? To be holy means simply to agree with God. And so when we disagree with God, when we embrace a new truth, that new truth will put us in disagreement with God. And that will cause an abomination to be accepted and render the holy place desolate, which is empty and uninhabited by the presence of God. He said, whosoever readeth this, in the King James Version, whosoever readeth this, let him understand. Verse 15. The disciples sat around with Jesus, and they're inquiring of him, what shall be the sign of your coming, your return? And Jesus says, when ye therefore see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whosoever readeth, let him understand. Paul said in Romans 12:1 that the holy place is supposed to be where? So if a new truth is standing in the holy place, then the abomination of desolation that's spoken of by Daniel has just taken place in your life. And I'm telling you, anybody that embraces this new truth as the truth, because the abomination of desolation is spoken by Daniel does not have anything to do with them building a third temple. Jesus Christ built the third temple when he died and rose again. That's the third temple, the spiritual house. The spiritual house, the spiritual church is the third temple. The third temple that the Jewish folks will build, because they were always natural in your understanding, but ours is a spiritual. Ours is a spiritual place of being. And Jesus built this third temple, like I said, through the sacrifice of his again. He could have done anything with that time that he was here on earth, that he could have done anything at that time. Yeah. And when the devil approached him in Matthew 4:4, he pointed that out to him. You can do anything. You can do anything, you can be anything, but Jesus made a sacrifice of his whole life to do that which is pleasing in the eyes of God. And by doing so, he offered up those spiritual sacrifices, and then when he died and sacrificed his blood became
the thing that cleansed the earth, that cleansed the people of their sin, because the blood was holy, because the man is holy. Okay? And so, if you thinking that and you waiting, well, I'm gonna get my life and my relationship with God tightened up when I see the Jewish folks build this third temple, you're gonna check out of here and you're gonna stand before the judge and see God, and God's gonna ask you the question, what were you waiting on? You saying, I was waiting on the abomination of desolation, you know, when the Antichrist steps into the temple. And Jesus says, well, he stepped into the temple the day that you embraced this truth instead of home. John chapter 2, verse 19. Why do you guys think that Jesus was? What justification could they have used to crucify Jesus in the first place? There it is right here. Jesus answered and said unto them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. Then said the Jews, 46 years was this temple in building. Wilt thou rear it up in 3 days? But he spake of the temple of his body. And so, look at Matthew 26. Because God wants you guys to know this. You need to know what was used to check Jesus out. And how this all relates to what we've been talking about. Verse 59, now the chief priests and elders and all the council sought false witnesses against Jesus to put him to death, but found none. Yea, though many false witnesses came, yet they found none. At the last came 2 false witnesses. Verse 61. And said, this fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and to build it in 3 days. And so Jesus was crucified in the eyes of the Jewish folks because they thought that he meant to tear down their physical temple. And they didn't realize that he was talking about the temple of his body. And so when he made that body sacrifice, he resurrected the spiritual house of God, which we all are part of. And so if we accept anything else other than this truth, I mean, you know, it is what it is. All right. And so I didn't, some of you may have seen this, some of you may have not. But I'm not sure to you because I was told to. All right. Oh, yes. I didn't Newsweek done that. I didn't do that. And so, you know, I'm gonna say something and then, you know, it took Christ's consciousness, it took Jesus to bring Christ consciousness to the earth. Say that again. It took Jesus to bring Christ consciousness to the earth. In order to bring the abomination that maketh desolate to the earth, one must first already be an abomination. Jesus could not bring Christ consciousness to the earth unless that's what he was. You have to be something. Iron sharpens iron. That's what the book of Proverbs. You have to be something in order to bring forth or put forth that consciousness. So Newsweek is asking the question, and those of you that may be sitting on the fence with this new truth, I'm going to ask you in your own private time with God, you need to ask yourself these questions. Because Saul started out as a man paying attention